His city skyline burned gold under the dawn, and Ethan Caldwell stood at its peak, 50 stories up, in a glass office that screamed power. He was 32, sharp-jawed, with eyes like a hawk, always scanning, always hungry. CEO of Vantage Corp, a tech empire he'd built from a dorm room dream, Ethan was the guy every kid in Silicon Valley idolized. His voice could hush a boardroom, his smile could close a billion-dollar deal. But this morning, as he sipped black coffee, staring at the world he'd conquered, a shadow flickered in his gut. Something was wrong. Terribly wrong. At 8:03 a.m., his phone buzzed, a single text from an unknown number, "You're a fraud, and I'll prove it." His heart slammed against his ribs. The room spun. Who knew? Who could possibly know? Ethan's empire wasn't just built on code, it was built on a lie, a secret buried so deep he'd almost forgotten it himself. Almost. By 8:30, the internet was screaming. An anonymous post on X, dripping with cryptic accusations, had gone viral. Vantage Corp's golden boy stole his throne, it read. The stock plummeted. Reporters swarmed. His team begged for answers, but Ethan's lips stayed sealed, his mind racing back to a single night, 6 years ago, in a dim-lit bar where he'd made a deal with the devil. A deal that made him king. Now, someone was coming to collect, the next 72 hours were a hurricane. Ethan's penthouse, once a sanctuary of leather and chrome, felt like a cage. His phone never stopped, board members demanding explanations, investors pulling out, his own sister texting, "Ethan, what did you do?" He couldn't tell her. He couldn't tell anyone. The secret was a ghost, haunting every decision he'd made since that night in the bar, when he'd met her, Lila Voss, a coder with a mind sharper than a blade. She'd had the idea, the spark, the code that became Vantage Corp's cornerstone. But Ethan? He'd taken it. Not with force, but with charm, promises, and a contract she didn't read closely enough. Lila vanished after that, heartbroken, betrayed. Ethan thought she was gone forever. Until now. The X posts kept coming, each one slicing deeper, leaking details only Lila could know. By day 4, a video hit YouTube, a grainy clip of Ethan, drunk, laughing about, taking what's mine. The internet erupted. #cancel Caldwell trended. Protesters camped outside Vantage Corp's headquarters. Ethan stood at his window, watching the chaos, feeling the walls of his empire crack. He could fight, spin a story, hire lawyers, bury the truth deeper. But late that night, alone, he found a note slipped under his door, "Meet me where it started. Midnight. Or I end you." His hands shook. Lila was back. And she wasn't just after blood, she was after his soul. The bar was a ghost town, its neon sign flickering like a dying star. Ethan walked in at midnight, his polished shoes scuffing the sticky floor. Lila sat in the corner, her eyes cold, her once vibrant face etched with pain. She didn't look like a villain, just a woman who'd lost everything. "You took my life," she said, voice low, trembling with rage. "My code. My future. You built your empire on my bones." Ethan tried to speak, but his throat was sandpaper. He'd rehearsed excuses for years, but they dissolved under her gaze. Lila slid a USB drive across the table. "This is the truth," she said. "Every email, every draft, every proof you stole from me. Upload it. Confess. Or I do it, and you lose everything." The air was thick, suffocating. Ethan saw his life, his penthouse, his private jet, his name in lights, crumbling to ash. But something else stirred inside him, something he hadn't felt in years, shame. He took the USB, his fingers brushing hers, and whispered, "I'm sorry." It wasn't enough, but it was a start. The next morning, Ethan posted a video on YouTube, not a defense, but a confession. He told the world about Lila, about the code, about the lie that made him. The views skyrocketed. Hate poured in, but so did something else, respect. People saw a man owning his sins. Lila watched from her tiny apartment, tears streaming, as Vantage Corp stock tanked but Ethan's soul began to heal. He stepped down as CEO, gave Lila her due credit, and started a fund for young coders, naming it after her. The world didn't forgive him, not fully, but Ethan didn't need their forgiveness. He'd faced the truth. And for the first time in years, he slept without ghosts.